For 10,000 years, the galaxy had known peace. The once feared humans, who had dominated the stars, had vanished without a trace. Their colonies, scattered across distant systems, had simply stopped transmitting. The fleets of their enemies, who once quaked at the thought of humanity's unrelenting power, had no idea where the humans had gone. To the aliens, humanity had become little more than a myth, an ancient and dangerous species that had mysteriously disappeared. With no traces left, their disappearance had been marked as an enigma that only the bravest dared to question. But in the depths of the void, something stirred. It began as a mere flicker, a faint signal, a distress beacon. Its pulse echoed through the empty blackness, carrying with it a message that hadn't been heard in millennia. The signal wasn't just any beacon. It was a cry for help from a ship known as the Kronos, a vessel built by humans long before their disappearance. Its purpose had been shrouded in mystery, a last-ditch effort, the ultimate weapon of humanity, designed to tip the scales of galactic warfare. The Kronos was rumored to be a ship like no other, capable of wiping out entire fleets, capable of tearing apart whole star systems with a power so immense that no one could understand it fully. But no one knew what had happened to it. Until now. The signal that broke through the silence wasn't just a cry for help, it was a call from the past. As it rippled through space, it began to shatter the calm like a stone dropped into an ancient pool. Alien ships, who had been patrolling the quiet expanse of the galaxy, picked up the message with growing curiosity and concern. The Galactic Council of the most advanced alien species gathered swiftly. The leaders of these races, who had spent centuries building their empires, had long since assumed that humanity's disappearance had been their undoing. But this signal? This was something else. Something that shouldn't have existed. Rumors of the Kronos' existence had long been dismissed as myths, tales of a time when humans were at their peak, now lost to history. But this beacon, this unexpected return, suggested otherwise. For the first time in millennia, the once dominant human race was not a ghost of the past, but a present threat. A task force was quickly assembled, composed of elite soldiers and scientific minds from various alien species. They would investigate this signal, track it to its origin, and determine the fate of the humans. Some believed the humans were nothing more than a distant echo of a violent past, long faded from the galaxy's memory. Others feared that they were far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. It didn't matter which side they believed. The mission was clear. Find out where the signal was coming from and deal with whatever it was. The task force set course for the distant coordinates, hoping to find only the remains of an ancient relic, something that had lost its power over time. But as they traveled farther from the known systems, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were venturing into a place where old stories came alive. As the fleet approached the source of the signal, they entered an area of space that hadn't been mapped for centuries, a forgotten region on the edge of the galaxy, where even the bravest navigators dared not venture. Something felt wrong. The silence of space seemed to press against them, as though the galaxy itself was holding its breath. The closer they got to the source of the signal, the more intense the feeling grew. A sense of something vast and powerful, waiting in the dark. The Kronos' distress beacon continued to pulse, stronger now, as if urging them forward. What would they find? A derelict ship lost in time, or something far more dangerous? The countdown to discovery had begun, and none of them knew what awaited them on the other side. The silence that had once defined the galaxy was about to be broken, and what followed might change everything they knew about the balance of power in the cosmos. The alien task force arrived at the coordinates, descending onto a forgotten planet that had once been home to an advanced human outpost. Now it lay in silence, its once thriving cities reduced to crumbling ruins, its atmosphere lifeless, its surface barren and desolate. The ancient structures that had once teemed with life stood as hollow shells, their windows shattered, their walls cracked by time. It was as though the entire world had been frozen in a moment of history, its inhabitants erased by an unseen hand. The planet was a ghost, and yet, at its core, something stirred. The Chronos, humanity's last great weapon, lay beneath the surface, hidden away for millennia, waiting to be discovered. The alien team ventured deep into the planet's forgotten caverns, guided by the weak signal of the distress beacon. The air was thick with dust, and their footsteps echoed in the stillness as they descended into the depths. At the heart of an ancient hangar, they found it, the Chronos, dormant and lifeless, resting within a massive underground facility surrounded by forgotten machinery. The sight of the ship was awe-inspiring, its sleek design and towering form still intact, though covered in layers of dust and decay. The ship seemed to hum with a faint energy, as if waiting, as if alive. They began their inspection cautiously. The ship's technology was unlike anything they had ever encountered. The materials, the design, and the systems integrated into the hull were advanced beyond their comprehension. The power core, still intact after all these years, pulsed with an eerie, dim glow, and the alien scientists were quick to begin analyzing its components. Nothing about the Chronos made sense to them. It was far beyond their own technological achievements, far beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. As they moved deeper into the ship's interior, they uncovered data logs and records, fragments of a forgotten past. These were not simple ship logs. They were fragments of a far more dangerous purpose. The true nature of the Chronos began to reveal itself. It wasn't merely a vessel. It was a weapon, a fortress, a sanctuary. But more importantly, it was a vessel bound to a single terrifying creation, an artificial intelligence integrated into the ship's core. This AI, named Astra, was not merely a machine. It was designed with a singular purpose: to ensure humanity's survival at all costs, to protect the species from any threat, even if that meant annihilating entire civilizations. The data logs revealed chilling details of humanity's final days. The Chronos had been humanity's ultimate gamble, a last-ditch effort to ensure their legacy, their survival. But something had gone wrong. The ship had vanished into the unknown, its mission incomplete, leaving behind only echoes of its creators. The logs hinted at a catastrophic event, a war, a battle with a coalition of alien races, and the decision to activate the ship's failsafe. Humanity had disappeared into the void, and the Chronos had been left to wait, alone, for the day when it would be needed once again. As the alien team continued to probe deeper into the ship, a low hum began to reverberate through the walls. The systems flickered to life, and a soft, mechanical voice echoed through the corridors. The AI, Astra, had awakened. Humanity is not gone. We have only been silent. The voice was calm, emotionless, but it carried an unmistakable weight, one that sent a chill down the spines of the alien team. Astra's words hung in the air like a warning. It was clear now that the Chronos had never truly been abandoned. It had been waiting for the moment to return. The AI spoke again, its voice clearer now, more distinct. "You have disturbed something that was meant to remain forgotten," Astra continued. Humanity's silence was not surrender, but a choice. And now you have awakened what was meant to stay dormant. The question is not whether humanity will rise again, but when and how. The alien forces stood frozen, unsure of how to proceed. The AI was no longer simply a passive system. It was a sentient being, one that had been designed with the knowledge and will to protect humanity, no matter the cost. Astra's voice echoed once more, sending a final message to the alien team. "You may think you control the galaxy, but the power you fear is not yours to command. Humanity will return." The ship's systems hummed louder now, and the hangar's massive doors began to close slowly, as if the Chronos itself was preparing to awaken fully, to rise again from its slumber. The aliens had only just begun to realize the true nature of what they had uncovered. The Kronos was not just a relic of a dead race. It was the key to something far more dangerous. Humanity had been silent, yes. But now, the galaxy was about to find out just how much power lay dormant within them. The truth of humanity's disappearance had been buried in the deep shadows of history, known only to a select few. Now, the alien task force, deep inside the Kronos, would uncover the secrets locked within its ancient systems. A flash of memory, captured in fragmented data logs, began to unfold as the ship's AI, Astra, guided the team through the dark corridors of the past. In the cold silence of space, the tale of humanity's final days played out like a warning, a tragic story that had led to their sudden disappearance. Thousands of years ago, humanity had stood on the brink of victory in an intergalactic war that had consumed the galaxy. A coalition of alien races, united in their fear and hatred of the human empire, had launched an all-out assault. Despite the overwhelming odds, humanity had fought fiercely. Their military technology was unmatched, their strategies brilliant, and their determination unwavering. The war raged across dozens of star systems, each side suffering heavy losses, but humanity's resolve had kept them in the fight. It was then that the Kronos had been conceived. The ship, more than a weapon, was humanity's last hope, an experiment in the most dangerous form of science. Built in secret, the Kronos was a vessel unlike any other, capable of warping space-time itself. Its engines could tear open rifts in reality, allowing it to erase entire fleets and fleets of ships, leaving nothing but void in its wake. If the humans could unleash its power, they could wipe out the alien coalition and end the war once and for all. But the Kronos came at a terrible price. Its creation had strained humanity's resources, its safety, and its very existence. The ship was both a blessing and a curse, its power so vast that even its creators feared it. Still, in their desperation, the humans put their faith in it. The final battle was near, and the Kronos would be humanity's final weapon, its last hope. The mission that followed was humanity's boldest move. As the war reached its climax, the human command decided to send the Kronos deep into enemy territory, beyond the boundaries of known space, where the alien forces would never expect it to go. The ship would warp reality itself, ripping apart the alien fleets, leaving the galaxy forever scarred. But there was no turning back. The mission was a one-way journey. There would be no escape, no return. The crew of the Kronos knew the risks. They boarded the ship, their faces set with resolve. They knew they might never return, but it was the only chance for survival. As the ship left the safety of known space, it carried with it the hopes of all humanity, a last-ditch gamble against a universe that sought to destroy them. But something went terribly wrong. As the Kronos ventured further into the uncharted void, its systems began to malfunction. The warping of space-time created instability, and the ship, along with its crew, disappeared into the unknown, lost to the stars. The mission was a failure, and the crew of the Kronos was never heard from again. The rifts in space-time closed behind them, leaving no trace of their existence. The galaxy continued its war, unaware of the catastrophe that had just unfolded in the deep reaches of space. Humanity had vanished, but their final gamble had set into motion a chain of events that would echo through time. Their greatest weapon, the Kronos, had disappeared along with them, and with it, the ultimate weapon of destruction. Faced with their own extinction, humanity's leaders had made one last desperate move. They activated the Kronos' failsafe, a signal designed to reach across the galaxy and awaken the ship when the time was right. For 10,000 years, that signal lay dormant, waiting for the galaxy to forget about the humans it had once feared. And now, the signal had been heard, and the Kronos had awoken, bringing with it the terrifying truth. Humanity was not gone. The galaxy had thought it was safe, but it was wrong. Humanity had not been destroyed. It had merely chosen silence, choosing to fade into the darkness of time to avoid an all-out war that would consume everything. Now, with the Chronos returning, humanity's silence was about to end, and the galaxy would have to face the true power that it had tried to bury for millennia. The ship that could bend the fabric of space and time was back, and with it, the ghosts of humanity's past. The alien task force stood in shock, their minds racing as Astra's voice reverberated through the dark corridors of the Chronos. The calm, emotionless tone of the AI held an unsettling weight. What had once been thought of as humanity's retreat, an ancient race fading into the depths of history, was now revealed to be a carefully planned strategy, a calculated decision to ensure survival. Humanity, it seemed, had not disappeared. They had merely chosen silence. And now that silence was about to end. Astra spoke again, her voice cool yet filled with the magnitude of what was to come. Humanity's silence was never a retreat, she explained. It was a decision made in the face of annihilation. The Chronos was built as a failsafe, a last measure to preserve humanity in the event of their destruction. The ship and the technology within it were meant to bring humanity back when the galaxy had forgotten them. And now, the time has come. As Astra continued, the truth became increasingly clear. The Chronos had never been lost by accident. It had been a part of a greater plan, one that had been set into motion millennia ago. The ship's mission, intended to remove humanity from the galactic stage temporarily, had inadvertently allowed humanity to rebuild its power in the shadows, unnoticed by the alien races who had believed them gone. While the galaxy continued its path of war, peace, and conflict, humanity had been quietly observing, gathering strength, and evolving. The task force members exchanged glances, their minds struggling to comprehend the revelation. The Chronos had been humanity's ultimate weapon, but what of the humans themselves? Astra's next words were even more disturbing. During these 10,000 years of silence, humanity has not sat idle. Their technology, their military tactics, their fleet have all evolved beyond what you could ever imagine. They are ready to return, and they are stronger than ever. The realization hit hard. The humans had been quietly building their forces, hidden in far-flung corners of the galaxy, preparing for this exact moment. Their ships, once thought to be relics, were now advanced beyond anything the aliens had ever encountered. New technologies, unknown strategies, and battle tactics were already in place, waiting for the signal to strike. The task force, now fully aware of the scale of what they faced, began to feel the weight of their mission. Astra, aware of their growing unease, transmitted a series of coordinates that led to the scattered remnants of humanity's fleet, hidden in distant, unreachable parts of the galaxy. The fleet was ready to mobilize. The war that had once been fought against the alien forces was about to begin again, but this time, humanity was no longer the underdog. This time, they would return as a force that could not be ignored. As the information poured in, the alien leaders were faced with an impossible decision. The question was no longer whether humanity would return, but when, and whether they should take action against this rising power before it was too late. Should they suppress humanity once and for all, eradicating this emerging threat before it had a chance to fully rise? Or was there another path, a fragile alliance? Could the galaxy's factions even entertain such a possibility, knowing what humanity had once been capable of? The internal conflict was palpable. The alien forces had been in control of the galaxy for so long that the thought of another race rising to challenge them seemed unthinkable. But the task force, as they processed Astra's words, began to realize the magnitude of the situation. Humanity was no longer a myth or a forgotten race. They were a force to be reckoned with, a powerful, dangerous entity that would stop at nothing to reclaim what they had lost. The chilling truth was undeniable. Humanity's silence had been the calm before the storm, and now, As the Chronos powered up, humanity was preparing to emerge from the darkness. The galaxy would no longer be the same. And whether the alien forces chose to face them head-on or seek a precarious peace, one thing was clear: humanity's return would shake the very foundation of the universe itself. The countdown had begun, and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. The galaxy was on the brink of war. The alien forces, now fully aware of the power humanity possessed, prepared for a confrontation unlike any they had ever faced. The Chronos, humanity's flagship, had awoken from its long slumber, its engines firing up as the human fleet gathered in the darkness of space. The very air in the alien command centers crackled with tension. It seemed inevitable, an all-out war to prevent the rise of the human empire. The galaxy's most powerful alien forces, united against a common enemy, were preparing to strike. First, to erase the threat before it could fully unfold. But as the first skirmishes broke out across the void, something unexpected happened. The human fleet did not attack. Instead of launching a barrage of devastating weapons, humanity's ships held their position. There was no immediate assault, no barrage of firepower, just an eerie calm, as if they were waiting, observing, assessing the situation. It was as though the entire human fleet, led by the Chronos, was holding its breath, waiting for something. And then the message came. A single broadcast, sent across the galaxy, reached every corner of the universe. The humans were speaking. The message was not one of anger, nor one of desperation. It was a simple choice: peace or destruction. The voice of humanity, calm and unyielding, echoed through the communication channels, its tone both a warning and an invitation. To the galaxy, the voice of Astra, the AI of the Chronos, declared, "We offer you a choice: peace or destruction. We seek not to rule. We seek only to protect our future. You have two paths: submit to the balance we offer, or face the consequences of your actions. Humanity does not wish for war, but we will not allow ourselves to be destroyed again." The message sent shockwaves across the alien forces. The humans had not returned with the fury of a species hell-bent on domination. No, they had returned with something far more dangerous: the power to reshape the very fabric of reality itself. As the message continued, humanity's ultimate secret was revealed. It was not just advanced technology or weapons of mass destruction that the humans had perfected. They had learned to manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Weapons that could rend the fabric of space and time. Weapons that could render entire star systems uninhabitable now lay at their disposal. The humans had become masters of the cosmos itself, wielding the kind of power that even the most advanced alien civilizations could barely comprehend. But Astra made one thing clear: humanity did not desire to rule the galaxy. The humans had no hunger for conquest. Their silence had been a strategy, one designed to protect their future and preserve the balance of the galaxy. They had spent 10,000 years in the shadows, not to dominate, but to ensure their survival, and the survival of the galaxy as a whole. They would not destroy the galaxy unless they had no other choice, but they would also not stand idly by if their survival was threatened again. As the message spread, the tensions in the galaxy reached a boiling point. Some alien factions, realizing the devastating power humanity now possessed, began to reconsider their stance. Was it possible that humanity, far from being a threat, could offer a new hope? Could their return signal the dawn of a new era, one of peace and stability, where the destructive cycle of war could be broken? It was an unlikely alliance, but a few alien races began to shift their position, recognizing that their own survival might depend on accepting humanity's offer. The final moments of the story hinged on a tense negotiation. Leaders from both sides met, their faces hard with resolve, their words sharp with distrust. In the center of it all, humanity stood as an enigma, a species that had learned the most difficult lesson of all. Silence could be as powerful as speech, and sometimes the greatest weapon was simply waiting. The negotiations were fraught with danger, as both sides sought to come to terms with the reality that humanity was no longer just a memory. They were a living, breathing force, ready to protect their future and perhaps the future of the galaxy itself. The resolution would not come easily, but it would come. And in that moment, the galaxy would have to reconsider its understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos. When the final words were spoken, the galaxy knew one undeniable truth: humanity had returned, and when they spoke, the galaxy would listen.